Welcome, everyone. Today, we're spotlighting an actor who has redefined modern cinema with his remarkable range, Brad Pitt. Over decades, he's delivered iconic performances across genres, from grimy thrillers to grand historical epics. If you're a movie buff or simply curious about which titles capture his true artistic flair, this list has you covered. We'll explore Pitt's most compelling roles, examine what makes each film special, and hopefully introduce you to some fresh watch-list contenders. Ready? Let's begin our deep dive. Directed by David Ayer Fury, 2014, is set in April 1945, during the waning days of World War II. Brad Pitt portrays Don War Daddy Collier, a battle-hardened U.S. Army staff sergeant commanding a Sherman tank crew in Nazi Germany. Despite the Allied forces' apparent momentum, the Germans remain dangerously resistant, turning each confrontation into a lethal gamble. War Daddy's squad, thrust into treacherous territory with scant supplies, must push forward while preserving the morale that keeps them from succumbing to despair. At the story's heart lies the tension between collective mission and individual conscience. War Daddy, deeply scarred by the horrors he has witnessed, becomes both protector and ruthless teacher to the fresh-faced Norman, Logan Lerman. This untested recruit balks at committing violence, forcing War Daddy into the grim role of mentor who must strip away innocence to ensure survival. Meanwhile, fellow tank operators, Shia LaBeouf's spiritually driven Boyd, Michael Peña's resourceful driver Gordo, and John Bernthal's savage mechanic Coon-Ass, each cope with the brutality in distinct ways, highlighting the emotional toll that warfare exacts. Pitt's War Daddy is layered, stoic yet burdened by moral conflict. Unlike typical heroic depictions, he's a soldier shaped by circumstances too awful to ignore. When War Daddy says, "Ideals are peaceful, history is violent," it resonates as an unvarnished truth. The film's aesthetic amplifies this rawness. Mud-splattered fields, dark skies, and claustrophobic interior tank shots underscore a reality where life often hinges on seconds. Beyond its visceral action, Fury asks larger questions about sacrifice and honor. How do veterans reconcile acts of violence with their humanity? Pitt embodies the conflicting weight of duty and empathy, revealing a man fully aware that every order he gives might cost a life, even if it saves others. The result is a war film that refuses to offer easy answers, instead leaving viewers with a somber reflection. In the furnace of war, decency is a fragile spark that soldiers guard at their own peril. Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, 2019, captures a transformative moment in 1969 Los Angeles. The film brims with bright neon signs and a carefree spirit, yet it carries the undercurrent of looming darkness tied to the Manson family. Within this nostalgic tapestry, Brad Pitt takes center stage as Cliff Booth, a stunt double for fading Western TV star Rick Dalton, Leonardo DiCaprio. Cliff embodies the classic strong, silent type, but with Tarantino's signature twist. He's a jack of all trades, driving Rick around, fixing antennas, and stepping in whenever danger arises. Beneath his easygoing exterior lies a quiet confidence and a latent capacity for explosive violence. Pitt's performance strikes a delicate balance. Cliff is unflappable, seemingly immune to Hollywood's shifting landscape. While Rick panics over his dwindling fame, Cliff breezes through life, sporting a warm grin and a fearless attitude. The interplay between Cliff and Rick forms the film's heartbeat. Rick wrestles with existential dread, knowing his big-name days might be numbered, while Cliff acts as a calming anchor, content in his more humble position. Pitt and DiCaprio share a chemistry reminiscent of old Hollywood partnerships, yet Tarantino keeps the tone light and comedic. Meanwhile, Margot Robbie's Sharon Tate radiates optimism, walking the sunlit streets and reflecting a bygone innocence. Despite the film's slow-burn approach, the tension coils around real historical tragedy. Tarantino playfully rearranges events, culminating in an outlandish finale that flips expectations. Cliff becomes the unassuming hero, single-handedly confronting home-invading cult members in a burst of brutal, darkly comedic violence. What elevates Pitt's performance is how effortlessly he sells Cliff's relaxed nature without diminishing his lethal potential. It's as if Cliff operates on a different frequency than anyone else. Part cowboy, part Zen monk. This combination earned Pitt an Academy Award, cementing Cliff Booth as one of his most intriguing characters. With its sun-soaked visuals and tongue-in-cheek historical revisionism, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood doubles as both love letter and critique of Tinseltown's golden myths, with Brad Pitt as its laid-back guardian at the gates. Steven Soderbergh's Ocean's 11, 2001, is the epitome of a heist film done right. Suave yet approachable, clever but never overcomplicated, and buoyed by an all-star ensemble. Amidst the neon glow of Las Vegas, Danny Ocean, George Clooney, recruits a group of specialized thieves to rob 3 casinos owned by Terry Benedict, Andy Garcia. By his side stands Rusty Ryan, played by Brad Pitt, the unflappable right-hand man who seems perpetually occupied with munching on snacks in impeccably tailored suits. This constant snacking becomes a defining trait, an oddball detail that underscores Rusty's calm under pressure. While Danny Ocean masterminds the big-picture plan, Rusty is the field commander, ensuring every component aligns seamlessly. Pitt's performance captures a blend of cool detachment and sly humor. He doesn't need grand speeches. A raised eyebrow or clever aside conveys Rusty's confidence. Even when complications arise, a mistaken identity, a security glitch, Rusty navigates each snag with casual ease. The cast brims with characters. Matt Damon as the eager pickpocket Linus, Don Cheadle as the Cockney demolition expert, and Bernie Mac as the smooth-talking blackjack dealer, among others. Their interplay transforms the film into a breezy caper that treats the heist as a theatrical spectacle. Every role clicks together, forming a puzzle that rewards the audience with a satisfying payoff. Yet beneath its slick presentation, Ocean's 11 has surprising depth. Danny's lingering feelings for his ex-wife Tess, Julia Roberts, add emotional stakes to what could have been a routine robbery plot. Rusty's unwavering loyalty to Danny demonstrates the film's emphasis on friendship. Throughout, Pitt exudes an air of quiet assurance that both grounds and elevates the entire operation. Soderbergh's direction matches the film's polished vibe, blending upbeat music, dynamic camera movements, and sharp editing. The result is a balance of comedic banter, tense build-ups, and stylish reveals. While Ocean's 11 spawned sequels and spin-offs, nothing beats witnessing Brad Pitt's Rusty orchestrate a seemingly impossible plan with the aplomb of a seasoned gambler who knows the house is about to lose, spectacularly. In The Big Short, 2015, director Adam McKay transforms a tale of financial catastrophe into a film brimming with suspense and dark humor. Anchored by a cast of heavyweight performers, Christian Bale, Steve Carell, Ryan Gosling, and Brad Pitt, it explores the greed-fueled lead-up to the 2007 to 2008 housing market collapse. Pitt appears as Ben Rickert, a disillusioned former banker pulled back into the fray by 2 young investors determined to profit from a crumbling system. What makes the film exceptional is how it clarifies complex financial instruments, using cameo explanations from celebrities like Selena Gomez to dissect terms like collateralized debt obligations. Viewers realize that colossal banks and rating agencies skirted responsibility for enormous risks. The moral ambiguity intensifies as our protagonists discover they can capitalize on widespread ignorance, effectively betting against the American economy. Brad Pitt's Ben Rickert is the reluctant moral compass among them. While others chase astronomical gains, he warns that this crash means real people losing jobs, homes, and savings. Pitt's performance hinges on subtlety. He's not the star attraction, but his presence injects conscience into a narrative that could otherwise descend into cynicism. His character's restraint stands in stark contrast to Ryan Gosling's flamboyant Jared Vanette and Steve Carell's outraged Mark Baum. McKay orchestrates a frenetic pace that mirrors the market's frenetic meltdown. Editing is rapid, comedic cutaways disrupt tension, and scenes ricochet between boardrooms and elaborate visual metaphors. In these chaotic sequences, Ben Rickart's calm admonitions sound like a distant alarm bell. Even when he helps the young investors profit, he reminds them, and us, that exploiting a system's failure carries human consequences. Ultimately, The Big Short juggles entertainment and condemnation. It's a cautionary tale about how unchecked ambition can rot the foundations of society. Pitt's restrained but earnest performance ensures the storyline retains moral gravity. In a film stuffed with flashy characters, he underscores that every triumph in the financial world may entail someone else's tragedy. A sobering truth in an otherwise wry look at economic absurdities. For a mind-bending trip through time travel and psychological breakdowns, 12 Monkeys, 1995, is a masterstroke from Terry Gilliam. Set in a bleak future where humanity hides underground after a deadly virus decimates the surface, the story follows James Cole, Bruce Willis, on a desperate mission to discover how the plague began. As he ping-pongs between eras, Cole struggles with the possibility that he might be stuck in a nightmare of his own making. Brad Pitt plays Jeffrey Goins, a patient in a psychiatric ward who radiates manic energy. Goins is unpredictable, delivering rambling monologues about consumerism and societal decay. The brilliance of Pitt's performance lies in his ability to bounce between comedic mania and eerie prescience. Audiences are left wondering if Goins is simply insane, or if he actually understands the larger forces shaping humanity's downfall. Pitt won a Golden Globe for this role, cementing his reputation as an actor unafraid to embrace edgier parts. Gilliam's unique visual style, marked by off-kilter camera angles, ominous lighting, and claustrophobic set designs, amplifies Cole's sense of disorientation. The film teeters between sci-fi and psychological thriller. Cole could be a savior from the future, or a delusional man conjuring elaborate fantasies. This uncertainty forms the spine of the narrative. Meanwhile, Dr. Catherine Rayleigh, Madeline Stowe, stands in as the rational observer who gradually comes to question her own reality. At its core, 12 Monkeys probes the notion of predestination. Is history unchangeable no matter what we do? As Cole hunts the army of the 12 Monkeys, a mysterious group possibly linked to the virus, the lines between fate and free will blur. Pitt's Goins becomes a wild card in this existential puzzle, tempting Cole down new perilous paths. Even when the plot tangles into paradoxes, the film's emotional undertow remains strong. Fear, hope, and desperation are intimately entwined. In the end, 12 Monkeys leaves viewers pondering how a single moment might shift destiny, or if destiny already has the final word. Directed by Steve McQueen, 12 Years a Slave, 2013, is a heart-wrenching account of Solomon Northup, Chiwetel Ejiofor, a free black man from New York who is abducted and sold into slavery in the American South. The film lays bare an unflinching look at the cruelty inflicted upon enslaved individuals, a stark portrayal of physical brutality and psychological torment that persisted under this brutal institution. Brad Pitt appears as Samuel Bass, a Canadian laborer whose role is brief but pivotal. Bass is among the rare figures who openly question the legitimacy of slavery, voicing moral concerns that stand in stark contrast to the normalized barbarity around him. This portrayal might seem minor, however, Bass's intervention is crucial to Solomon's eventual escape, proving that even a small spark of empathy can alter the course of a life. Pitt's understated performance leans into sincerity rather than heroics, emphasizing that genuine compassion can exist amidst overwhelming darkness. Central to the film is Ejiofor's astonishing turn as Solomon. Torn from his family and his identity, he struggles to retain hope in a world designed to strip him of dignity. McQueen's directorial choices, long takes that refuse to look away, haunting close-ups, trap viewers in Solomon's anguish. We witness dehumanizing acts, forced labor, savage punishments, and the casualness with which slave owners treat human life as property. Lupita Nyong'o's portrayal of Patsy, trapped under a sadistic master, Michael Fassbender, underscores the despair many faced daily. Her performance not only earned her an Academy Award, but it also amplifies the film's unrelenting emotional resonance. When Samuel Bass steps forward questioning the morality of such cruelty, the resulting glimmer of hope is as vital for viewers as it is for Solomon. 12 Years a Slave thus becomes an ode to resilience and a searing condemnation of a society built on oppression. Pitt's quiet sincerity reminds us that sometimes the small voice of conscience can stand against even the most deeply rooted evil. Fast, frenetic, and laced with irreverent humor, Snatch, 2000, by Guy Ritchie plunges viewers into London's seedy underworld. The narrative juggles two main threads: a stolen diamond large enough to attract half the city's crooks, and an unlicensed boxing ring overshadowed by ruthless gangsters. As usual in a Ritchie film, everything unfolds at breakneck speed, propelled by snappy dialogue and stylized editing. Among the diverse cast of con artists, hitmen, and bookies, Brad Pitt's Mickey O'Neill leaps off the screen. Mickey is an Irish gypsy boxer with an accent so thick even the most streetwise criminals can barely comprehend him. Though he looks scruffy and carefree, he's no pushover. Pitt subverts his glamorous leading man image with a character who wields comedic flair and raw power. One moment Mickey negotiates for a caravan, the next he's delivering a knockout punch that upends every scheme in place. Guy Ritchie's trademark ensemble approach means Snatch bursts with side stories. Benicio del Toro's Diamond Thief arrives only to get entangled in a botched robbery. Robert De Niro's Jimmy Conway is a mentor figure whose calm composure belies the danger that bubbles beneath. Meanwhile, Joe Pesci's Tommy DeVito embodies combustible energy, delivering a performance that swings from comedic to terrifying in seconds. Ray Liotta as Henry captures the audience's perspective. Wide-eyed at first, later corrupted, and eventually desperate to escape a world that's collapsing. Beyond the iconic one-liners and freeze-frame introductions, Goodfellas shapes a portrait of how ordinary desires for wealth and acceptance can spiral into criminal desperation. Each scene resonates with the frantic pulse of a life lived on the edge, where one wrong move can end it all. The editing and soundtrack amplify the sense of perpetual motion, as if the characters are riding a roller coaster that never truly stops until it derails. Intriguingly, the film also focuses on the dynamics of marriage and family within the mob world. Henry's wife, Karen, finds herself seduced by the perks, even as she struggles with the moral decay that comes with them. By the time the final act unravels, we're left in a haze of cocaine-fueled paranoia and betrayals, culminating in a sobering aftermath that redefines the American dream as a hollow promise. Goodfellas stands as an unflinching look at how easy it is to lose your soul when greed and violence become the norm, reminding us that living the high life can mean falling even harder when reality comes crashing down. 1. The Godfather Part 2, 1974. It's rare for a sequel to not only live up to its predecessor, but to stand as an equal, if not superior, counterpart. Yet The Godfather Part 2 accomplishes exactly that, weaving two interlinked narratives that enrich the Corleone saga. On one track, we follow Michael Corleone, now deeply entrenched in the family's criminal empire, as he battles to protect his business interests and maintain control over the fracturing loyalty within his ranks. Al Pacino's portrayal of Michael is riveting. He's colder, more calculating, and haunted by the decisions he's forced to make. Running parallel is the origin story of Vito Corleone, played with delicate restraint by Robert De Niro. We see Vito's journey from an orphan escaping Sicily's brutality to a young immigrant seizing opportunities in Little Italy. This storyline illuminates how a man with righteous intentions, determined to protect his community, can evolve into the formidable patriarch we met in the first film. Through these interwoven timelines, director Francis Ford Coppola crafts a meditation on power, family, and the cyclical nature of violence, where each generation inherits not just wealth, but also grudges and vendettas. The film's solemn tone is accentuated by masterful cinematography and a score that lingers with a mournful beauty. While the grandeur of the Corleone estates and the allure of powerful negotiations might dazzle at first glance, the emotional heart of the story is one of disintegration, of trust eroded and familial bonds shattered. We watch Michael's moral decay as he alienates those closest to him, including his wife Kay, whose despair becomes palpable in every silent exchange. Meanwhile, Vito's timeline provides a poignant contrast, the early seeds of empire building, forged in a desire to protect rather than exploit. Yet, even the best intentions become tainted when violence is the chosen tool. By the film's conclusion, the Corleones stand as a cautionary tale, unstoppable in public, yet devastated behind closed doors. In the pantheon of cinematic achievements, The Godfather Part 2 remains a paragon of storytelling, a layered, reflective epic that shows how the sins of one generation echo through another, whether in the hallowed corridors of power or the quiet corners of family life. Now that you've journeyed through the finest De Niro classics, which of these legendary films leaves the deepest impression on you? Share your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this countdown. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more captivating film explorations. Spread the love by sharing this video with fellow movie buffs. And remember, the magic of cinema is always richer when experienced together. Vinnie Jones's brutal enforcer dishes out punishment. Jason Statham's desperate promoter struggles to stay afloat among relentless sharks. The film cuts between these storylines at a dizzying pace, weaving them into a single tapestry of mischief and mayhem. Brad Pitt's role stands out, partly because Mickey is both comedic relief and the biggest threat to those who underestimate him. Whether he's stepping into the ring or outsmarting shady figures, Mickey remains a wild card nobody can fully predict. Despite the film's chaotic tone, it never feels disjointed, thanks to Ritchie's flair for orchestrating confusion with a wink and a nod. Ultimately, Snatch exemplifies style and substance colliding in a swirl of double crosses, Cockney slang, and dark comedy. At its center is Pitt's mischievous performance, a prime example of how risk-taking roles can revitalize an actor's image. Snatch might not be for everyone, but if you crave a dynamic crime caper that refuses to take itself too seriously, it's a wild ride worth taking. Quentin Tarantino's Inglourious Basterds, 2009, hurls viewers into an alternate World War II, where Adolf Hitler's regime may not be invincible after all. The film interweaves multiple narratives, each driven by revenge or retribution. Foremost is Lieutenant Aldo Raine, Brad Pitt, leader of the Bastards, a squad of Jewish-American soldiers tasked with terrorizing Nazis. They scalp enemies and spread fear, orchestrating a guerrilla campaign that subverts conventional war tropes. Aldo's introduction signals Tarantino's intent to merge grim history with pulpy fantasy. Sporting a thick Tennessee accent, Pitt's character demands Nazi scalps from his men, insisting they each deliver 100. Raine's swagger teeters between comedic and brutal, capturing Tarantino's flair for blending humor with unflinching violence. Alongside Aldo stands an eclectic team, including Donnie the Bear Jew, Donowitz, Eli Roth, and Hugo Stiglitz, Till Schweiger, each bringing a special brand of mayhem. Meanwhile, Shosanna Dreyfus, Melanie Laurent, a Jewish survivor, plots her own vengeance after escaping an SS colonel's massacre. That colonel, Hans Landa, Christoph Waltz, represents one of Tarantino's most chilling antagonists. Polite, multilingual, and ruthlessly meticulous. Every time he appears, tension escalates, highlighted by extended, nerve-wracking conversations that can erupt into violence at any moment. Though grounded in Nazi-occupied France, Inglourious Basterds rejects historical accuracy in favor of a revenge saga that inverts real outcomes. By the finale, Tarantino gleefully dismantles expectations, staging an explosive rewrite of the war's turning point. Aldo Raine remains crucial to this chaotic tapestry. Pitt brings a mixture of bravado and comedic timing that offsets the film's darker elements. In typical Tarantino fashion, dialogue sequences become the battleground for wits and intimidation. Pitt's Aldo might appear brash, but beneath the comedic swagger lies an unwavering hatred for the regime. Inglourious Basterds doesn't attempt subtlety. Instead, it revels in righteous fury, delivering a tale of payback that some viewers find cathartic and others find morally unsettling. What's certain is that Brad Pitt's flamboyant performance, half soldier, half avenging cowboy, cements Aldo Raine as one of the most memorable figures in Tarantino's cinematic pantheon. David Fincher's C7, 1995, immerses audiences in a city of ceaseless rain and decaying morality. Brad Pitt stars as Detective David Mills, a young officer newly transferred into a dismal urban landscape teeming with violent crime. Paired with the soon-to-retire Detective William Somerset, Morgan Freeman, Mills finds himself caught in a macabre pursuit of a serial killer who models his murders on the 7 deadly sins. From the outset, Mills bristles with ambition and impatience, eager to prove he can crack the city's toughest cases. Somerset, on the other hand, is worn down by years of witnessing human depravity. Their dynamic is tense. Mills's impulsive optimism clashes with Somerset's methodical caution. Fincher exploits this tension to deepen the film's oppressive atmosphere. Every murder site is a grotesque tableau representing gluttony, greed, sloth, lust, pride, envy, or wrath, revealing the killer's twisted sense of justice. Pitt's portrayal of Mills evolves across the narrative. Initially brash and confident, he's jarred by each new crime scene, forced to confront the grim reality that this killer is always a step ahead. Gwyneth Paltrow's role as Tracy, Mills's loving wife, introduces a fleeting hint of normalcy in an otherwise bleak world. Yet even that sanctuary begins to crumble as the case spirals. What separates C7N from standard police procedurals is its unwavering commitment to dread. Rain falls incessantly, interiors are dimly lit, and the city remains unnamed, suggesting a universal allegory for moral decay. By the film's infamous conclusion, everything viewers believe about heroic triumph is upended in a twist that remains iconic in cinema history. Brad Pitt's raw emotional performance in the final scenes is a definitive statement on how easily hope can be corrupted when confronted with pure evil. C7N endures as a chilling reflection on humanity's capacity for cruelty and a milestone in Pitt's career, signaling that he could handle gritty, psychologically charged roles as adeptly as he handles more glamorous ones. Fight Club, 1999, directed by David Fincher and adapted from Chuck Palahniuk's novel, remains a lightning rod for debate. The film zeroes in on an unnamed narrator, Edward Norton, a disillusioned white-collar worker suffering from insomnia and spiritual malaise. Enter Tyler Durden, Brad Pitt, an enigmatic soap salesman who challenges every social norm and invites the narrator to form an underground fight club. From the moment Tyler appears, cigarette in hand, philosophy about shredding consumer culture on his lips, he disrupts the narrator's routine life. Pitt radiates a blend of sarcasm, confidence, and rebellion, forging a character both fascinating and unsettling. Fight Club soon explodes into something larger. Project Mayhem, a radical plan to upend the financial system. The film's visual language mirrors Tyler's chaotic ethos. Rapid editing, subliminal flashes of Tyler, and voiceovers of the narrator's cynical observations weave a darkly humorous tapestry that critiques hollow corporate values. Pitt's portrayal anchors this satire. Tyler is the ultimate ID, unrestrained by convention. Men flock to the Fight Club seeking liberation from numb desk jobs, battered self-esteem, and credit card debt, but they slide into a cultish devotion that feeds Tyler's mission. Many viewers interpret Fight Club as a cautionary tale about toxic masculinity, anarchy, and the void left by consumerist emptiness. Others see it as a scathing commentary on the illusions society fosters. Pitt's charismatic Tyler both seduces and repels, a live grenade that the narrator can't help but follow. The twist nearing the climax recontextualizes everything, casting Tyler Durden in a new, surreal light. Whatever one's stance on the film's messages, Brad Pitt's turn as Tyler is undeniably iconic. His chiseled physique, wild grin, and rebellious one-liners etched Fight Club into pop culture history. It remains a film that, love it or hate it, demands you confront uncomfortable truths about identity, desire, and the allure of tearing it all down. That brings us to the end of our top 10 Brad Pitt movies countdown. From World War II, tank battles to heist in Las Vegas, from gritty thrillers to twisted satires, Brad Pitt has shown remarkable versatility and staying power. We hope this list sparks your curiosity or rekindles your appreciation for his work. Which film resonated with you the most? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more movie insights. Thank you for reading, and here's to many more great films to discover or revisit.